Last night, I watched a movie that reminded me of one of my all-time favorite movies. The full title of this movie is Kenji Miyazawa's Night on the Galactic Railroad. This film, based on a novel written in 1927 by the same name, echoes Spirited Away not just in the general plot structure, but also in the quiet way it chooses to tell its story. The storytelling is mostly visual, and the film rarely ever explains itself. Like Spirited Away, Night on the Galactic Railroad is fully confident in itself, and the message it's trying to convey. The entire film exudes the energy of the famous wordless train scene in Spirited Away. The movie takes you on a journey, an unforgettable, haunting journey. Now, since odds are you have not seen this movie, practically no one has seen this movie, please watch it. It's really good. Give it a shot, guys. You might like it. I'm just going to go in detail and explain the plot and anything that I think would be relevant for this video. I'm not going to talk about every single thing that happens, and it really is just magical, so I think you should experience it for yourself. But here we go. The general plot of Galactic Railroad is essentially the same as Spirited Away, even though it was released nearly 20 years before Spirited Away. The main character, a fuzzy little blue cat named Giovanni, is going through something difficult. He goes on a magical journey and comes back a changed person. He learns something on the magical journey that helps him in his real life. The lesson learned and the journey itself are the main parts where this film and Spirited Away differ. One of them is about bravery and facing the unknown, and the other is about, well, you'll see. The film opens in Giovanni's school, where we see him bullied by the other kids who slander his father and mock him for his strange behavior. Whenever we see the kids from Giovanni's school in this movie, they make fun of him in some way until the very end of the film. The only classmate that seems to be on his side is Campanella, who makes a fool of himself to make Giovanni feel less foolish. The film carries Giovanni's sadness in its tone and sound. The music in the film is eerie and sparse, and even the birds in the film sound menacing. All of these scenes that take place in the real world, or the real world that Giovanni and these characters live in, have this certain darkness to them that is heavy. It's a thick, tangible feeling of darkness and dread and depression that just permeates everything in Giovanni's life, from the school to his work and everything that we see in these scenes. And it really just takes its time. The film really lets you just sit with these dark moments and this dark setting and until we get to the train. When Giovanni goes home, we find out that his mother is sick. We never really see her face or know how sick she really is, but we know it's bad. He leaves to go get her milk and is told that he will have to wait for the next day to get her the milk, and then he goes to a big space-themed festival that the kids at school were talking about earlier in the movie. He is insulted by some of his classmates at the festival, and then he climbs a hill which seems to end on the edge of the earth. He stares at the stars, and the Galactic train appears. Soon afterwards, we see Giovanni on the train, and Campanella, whose coat is wet with no explanation, sitting across from him. The rest of the film, until the very end, consists of individual events that take place on the train. These events are preceded by a title card that describes what Giovanni and Campanella are about to experience in 2 or 3 words, much like the chapter of a book. Most of these chapters are passively observed and experienced by the cats. In this way, I felt like I was part of the journey, observing the strange sights with the characters silently, taking it all in. In this way, the film differs from Spirited Away. Chihiro, the protagonist of Spirited Away, actively makes decisions and drives the plot of Spirited Away, doing so with more confidence as the film progresses. As the chapters progress, a Christian religious theme becomes more and more apparent in the film. A giant neon cross can be seen outside the windows of a train. A blind cat working for the train tries to decipher a message that is soon revealed to be the lyrics of a religious song, which is repeated like a chant by a creepy cat with rosary beads. When 3 humans board the train, the film takes a darker turn and the true nature of the supernatural train becomes clear. The humans died when the ship they were on hit an iceberg. The older human, dressed like a pilgrim, is clearly a Christian, teaching the children about Christianity. The train is taking them to heaven. The next chapter, titled The Flame of Scorpio or something like that, is one I would rather not talk about. I don't really know what it means, but I know it is vitally important. It's cryptic and disturbing, especially since the story of the Scorpion is told by a young girl. It feels like the Canis Lupus scene from Fantastic Mr. Fox, a scene that is, according to the director, the most important scene, despite the fact that it happens at random and the meaning is unclear and up for interpretation. Just like that scene, everything about the Scorpion scene feels vitally important, especially since it is referenced later by Giovanni near the end of the film. But it's just something that defies explanation, it defies understanding. It's just impossible to escape the feeling that it is vitally important, and possibly the most important scene in the film. The humans arrive at heaven, which is marked by another giant cross and haunting echoes of Hallelujah. The next stop is identified as the true fields of heaven, or something along those lines, but everything in this scene is dark. Campanella begins to exit the train. Giovanni is afraid. He chases after him. He doesn't want to lose his only friend. Campanella leaves anyway and prevents his friend from following him. Giovanni returns to the train car and screams Campanella's name with tears in his eyes. And this is where the magical journey ends. Here the film sharply diverts from the hopeful ending of Spirited Away. Giovanni heads back towards the festival and is stopped by one of his classmates. His classmate tells him that Campanella dove in the river to save a drowning classmate, and that everyone is now looking for Campanella. Giovanni goes to the river just as the people on the bank come to the conclusion that Campanella is gone. They never say that he is dead, rather that he is lost or missing. Giovanni looks towards the stars and tells Campanella's father that he is somewhere up there. The film ends with Giovanni praying to the sky that he will be like the Scorpion, and then he runs back home. When Spirited Away ends, we know that Chihiro will be alright. She went on an amazing, magical journey and came out a stronger, braver person. When Giovanni comes back to his real world, a much darker one than Chihiro's, we do not know that anything in his life will be better. His father is still gone. As far as we know, his mother is still sick. The only thing that practically changed is that Giovanni lost his best friend. The experience on the train gave Giovanni the confidence that death is not the end of life. This part of the video is going to be conjecture, my next point I have to make, but the film does seem to support this darker interpretation, so just bear with me. Giovanni's mother may die. The film ends before he sees her again, and I believe that ambiguity is intentional. He may never see his father again in the living world. The film suggests this in the scene where Campanella's father tells Giovanni that he should have been home on the day that Campanella died, but the film ends before we ever see Giovanni's father. Giovanni knows he will see his friend again. He knows that death is not the end of life. Chihiro learned how to be brave and face the unknown, but Giovanni peered into the unknown so he could be brave. Night on the Galactic Railroad and Spirited Away are films that I'll never forget. They took me on a magical journey that taught me about life and overcoming difficulties, and they're just beautiful. There's something beautiful about the visual storytelling these films use. It's something beautiful about the way the films don't feel the need to explain themselves, how they're just content with putting you on a journey, and you just sit with the films and take it all in. And there's something special about that. And if you're wondering about how I feel about this, it's Mac Music Review, it's Mac Movie Review. I like to review things, I like to put a score on them. I give this a 10 out of 10. Same as Spirited Away. I really like this movie. I highly recommend it. Go check it out. If you haven't seen it, the whole thing's free on YouTube. I watched this on IMDb TV with ads. It wasn't available to rent on Amazon. I was going to rent it, and it's just not available right now. But you can watch it on YouTube. I'll link it in the description. It has less than 1,000 views, the video uploaded to YouTube. It's super high quality. It's where these clips came from. Go ahead and give it a watch, guys. It's a good movie. Thanks for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day.